Hey Gotta Campers, it's Josh. We have another fun Gotta Try It activity for you today. We're going to actually be doing this activity at night. What we're going to be doing today is called light painting, or what's commonly known as long exposure photography. For this particular activity, you're going to need a camera that allows you to be able to do manual settings, as well as a light. We're going to show you how it works, why it works, and then it's going to be up to you to be able to kind of do all of the creative fun that you can be able to do. So let's jump in. So what is long exposure photography? So in this particular case, it's all about your shutter. Right here, we have an example of what happens with your camera when you press that shutter button. When you press the button, you're releasing a shutter, and that's going to expose either your sensor or your film. Usually in a camera, when you press that button, it's going to freeze an object. It's going to go very quickly, and we call that high shutter speed. However, in this particular case, we're going to be opening up that shutter for a long period of time, and you're going to be shining light and being able to move around with it. You have to do this in a dark area, so nighttime or in a very, very dark area is going to be the best place. Any sources of light, you're going to see them. Like I mentioned, you're going to need a manual setting camera because you're going to need to do a balancing act. We're talking today about shutter speed, but there are other factors. Photography as a whole, it can be a little bit challenging, but with practice and repetition, you're going to understand the fundamentals and how everything functions. But for today, we're figuring out that shutter speed, and then we're going to do the fun stuff with light. So now you know how the camera works, but how do we actually paint with light? So for starters, you're going to need lights. For tonight, we're trying a couple of different things. We have a flashlight, we have a light that's red, and we also have this lamp that we're going to tie to a rope. So there's a couple of different things that you can do. I honestly recommend trying different lights with different colors and different intensities. You can be able to use a flashlight, headlamp, even the light on your cell phone if you have one. But really the big thing is just trying different things and seeing what works. So there's a bunch of different techniques that you can be able to try. Some are going to take more people than others, but one thing to really keep in mind is whoever is the subject has to stand very still. So for example, if you wanted to be able to outline yourself with a color, you would have somebody go up your body using that color. Make sure that that light stays right to the camera. Don't ever turn it. But you're going to have them just outline your portion of your body. It doesn't have to be super specific, but the key is that you're not moving and that the light is just framing you. And then from there, they can use different lights to be able to make it a different color, add different spikes. There's all different ways that you can be able to add to the picture. Again, the key is to experiment here. Another cool thing that you can be able to do is to be able to make actual designs or draw things. So for example, if we wanted to make a smiley face, I would click once for one eye, turn the light off so that it's not carrying across, because anytime you move that light, it's going to show where it's tracking. So if I do one eyeball, turn the light off, another light bulb, and you're going to have another eye, and then finally we come down and make the smile, and then turn that off. And then if you want to get really adventurous, you can be able to make a big old smiley. Again, if we leave that shutter open, it's going to get all of that light all at once. And that's what it's going to be left with as a smiley face. You can be able to try to draw. You can be able to write your name. Just know that if you do your name, it's going to be backwards because it's going to be mirror reflected. So you'd have to do it backwards. So just keep that in mind. That one's a little bit challenging. But again, the key is really to experiment with light, see what looks cool, see what works, and mess with color. So let's head on outside because it's going to be getting dark soon, and let's give this a go. So I forgot just a couple of things. You're definitely going to need a tripod because you need the camera to not move. You're going to need a light. And last, you're going to need a buddy to help you be a subject. So we got Jake to come in tonight. So what you're looking at right now, team, is the back of my camera. The number that's all the way in the bottom that says the 10, that means that my camera is going to leave its shutter open for 10 whole seconds, which means that it's going to have light exposing for 10 seconds. So we can be able to draw with that light. We're going to show you what that looks like in just a hot second. taking pictures. Our final step is to upload our photos. If you're using a Mac, you're going to want to go to iPhoto. If you're using a PC, you're going to go to Windows Photo Gallery. Or you could even probably just use your phone. For some of you more advanced campers out there, there is also Lightroom as well as Photoshop. But you don't need those to be able to have your photos come out the way that they need to. So really, it is just a matter of just getting them on your computer and playing around. Let's take a look at what Jake and I were able to make. Remember, campers, light painting is not an exact science. It's a lot of experimenting, having fun, and just trying different things. If something doesn't come out the way that you want it to, try a different setting, try a different light. The key here is to really just have fun with it and just make some art. I hope that you enjoy this activity. If you do wind up going out and trying it, definitely send us your photos. We want to see what everything looks like. But otherwise, enjoy.